Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Wojciech Przybylski. I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Tomasz Duda, who's Director for R&D at 3M Poland, Mikołaj Budzanowski, who's a member of the board in Boryszew, so one of the largest industrial group in Poland, responsible for the group development, and also he's the organizer of the event, so I'm a bit stressed right now, and Mr. Sven Scheuble, who is responsible for the, let's say, innovation, interface, and support system in Siemens Group, Germany. The first question would go to 3M, to Mr. Tomasz Duda, because we are going to talk, in fact, less than 15 minutes about how to build an efficient R&D team in the structure of the company. But R&D team is all about people, and we need to have these people on board first. So the question is about the recruitment process. We know what's going on with unemployment in Poland. Many international companies used to choose Poland because of the rich human capital in the country. The question is if you already feel a pressure or a challenge recruiting people to your R&D departments.
Good afternoon. I think this is a challenge which is not just for our R&D organization. That's kind of a challenge we all face right now in terms of looking for candidates for our organization, and especially in the technical side. And we are operating, our R&D organization is located in Wrocław, and as you can imagine, Wrocław is pretty high growing agglomeration. Even though we have pretty good universities with about 150,000 students, but there are still quite a competition in terms of hiring the best candidates to our companies. So it's kind of a long-term investment, and from my perspective, I can see that we now can see the trend that recruitment process to find the right candidates, it's slightly longer than it was 2 years ago, 1 year ago. So we need to also take some initiatives to make sure that we will find these people more effective. And even though we have every year a couple of hundreds, maybe a few thousand students finishing universities, there are just few candidates with the right skills we want to hire. So we want to know that they actually know us and they want to pick us as a company they want to work for. And there are a couple of initiatives we are doing, mainly working with universities, working with students with their projects, also being present on universities, so we can tell them that's the good company to work. I mean, when we talk about our company, our 3M company. But from the other hand, you have to create also a great place to work, and 3M over the last 2 years also achieved this award, Great Place to Work, because it should be sustainable investments for a long term to not just hiring good people, but also maintaining this talent. And R&D, it's kind of a typical organization, a little bit different than other ones, because you want to have people with individual talents and then mix talents in the right way to get the most effective and benefits from that team.
Okay, thank you so much. The next question will go to Mr. Scheuble, and it's also about the mixing talent. The question is, where do you in fact recruit the people, and in how far do you recruit at academic sector? Just a short introduction to the question. Some 2 or 3 years ago, I was talking to a guy from Fraunhofer Gesellschaft, Fraunhofer organization, who told me that Fraunhofer is changing the way of transferring IP to companies, from transferring IP directly into transferring IP with the teams from Fraunhofer that in fact were working on this IP. Is it the case Siemens is known from fruitful cooperation with many universities or R&D unions? Is it the case you do it, and do you recruit the whole teams coming from the academic sector?
Well, there is a clear answer. It depends. It really depends case by case. What is clear is that the team is key, and sometimes we already have a team inside of Siemens, but we lack some IP, we lack some technology, then we would bring the technology into the existing team. Sometimes we find a great team with an idea, and we bring the whole team in, but there is no general answer to your question. But as I said, what is key is definitely the team. IP is replaceable, IP can be circumvented, but the great talent and a great team is not replaceable.
Okay, so I will ask a similar question concerning the startups, although I fear you will again answer me, it depends. But according to the whole like hype for startups and open innovation movement and CVC, you are also like developing your own structures. Maybe you could also tell us a bit more about the Next 47 initiative. But the question is, because I know that you do that, I know that you are searching for startups. Do you search for startups mainly because like the technology they are developing, or mainly because of the people they bring with?
Well, startups are extremely important for us because startups provide us with new innovation, and that goes far beyond the technology. It's about ideas, it's about the business models, it's about, of course, also the technology, but it's about everything that a startup has to solve on the way to its own business success. This is about pricing, this is about the product development, it's about technology, it's about the customer access. All that helps us to also learn for our markets. And therefore, we are using startups and working with startups in order to bring this innovation into Siemens. And we can do this in different ways. We can just cooperate. We can also be an investor into a startup. Theoretically, we can acquire a startup, and we can create our own startups. And we have done this over the last years very successfully, and have now put everything that has to do with startups under the roof of Next 47 that you just mentioned. This is our external brand to combine all the relevant methodologies to connect the world of Siemens with the external world of startups.
Okay, I will stay just for a moment still with you, because it's I guess a key factor for many people here. The CVC movement is quite important now in the country. Many companies are developing. If you could just pick up like one recommendation for people responsible for developing like CVC structures in their corporations, what should they do? How should they do that, in fact? What's the key issue? It depends, I know.
No, I think that the key thing is to think in ecosystems, to bring the relevant players together like you are doing here in this conference. This is about collaboration between government, between large corporates, between SMEs and the startups. And of course, the good technical or general universities. If you mix those players around the strength of the respective location, then you can generate some momentum out of which all participating parties will profit.
Okay, thank you. Mikołaj, let's now jump to the Polish garden again. You are managing a very big company, in fact, a highly diversified company with tens of factories, with, in fact, a couple of industries of market you are operating in. How is the whole R&D structure and work of the people organized within the Boryszew group?
Yes, hello, good afternoon. Actually, yes, we are covering like more than 30 factories all over the world, from Mexico, India, China, and most of them in Germany and in Poland, actually. And actually, if it comes to the discussion about the R&D center, we don't have the centralized. I don't believe in this, actually. And we have a very good R&D staff. We are right now the leader of 10 big R&D projects in Poland, in aluminum industry and automotive industry. But actually, what we are really looking for, and especially myself personally, for real disruptors. I mean, for these kind of people, not only engineers. We don't have the problem with the access to the engineers, yes, because of quite a very good universities that we have in Poland. But what we really lack and what we are really looking almost every week for them is for real disruptors, new thinkers, passionate people, and it's not so easy to find those kind of persons on the market. Yes, with such an open-minded approach to everyday life and to their duties. One of these engineers sitting here on the right-hand side, he is one of this person that always pick up my phone when I call him on Saturday, on Sunday. Whatever it is at 12 or 11 o'clock, even at night. So this is good. And those kind of people, really, we are looking for our company to employ them and to give them the freedom of thought, because the freedom is the most important thing within the very big corporations. Otherwise, all the initiative will be killed. So that is the reason we put them slightly apart from the everyday duties and just only to concentrate on the most interesting and most, let's say, forward-looking solutions in the industry, in some aluminum parts, how to develop the alloys of our aluminum, for example, and this is our really key issue now. And we hopefully we see as well to cooperate with Siemens company. We're building new automotive factories and to provide the best solutions based on our indigenous domestic knowledge.
Okay, thanks. You have addressed like the area of like the soft competences of people working in R&D, working on innovation, that they should be open. In fact, there's a problem most of the startups we work with in Krakow Technology Park face. So they have a problem with staying focused. Yeah, and it's a general like challenge, I guess, also for R&D teams, also in large corporations, because when you want them to be open-minded, open for new innovations, open for cooperation with startups, with academics, and so on, at the same time, within the organization in a corpo, they must keep focused on their projects and their work. And the last question, a general question, is addressed to all of you, in fact, whoever wishes to answer, how to keep these both values at the same time.
So, if you don't mind, I can start. I think, number one, R&D targets has to be aligned with the business targets. So then we'll stay focused because we know exactly what company expects from us. From the other hand, like Steve said, there is people are the key part of the R&D organization, and you have a different individuals, different talent in this organization. Some of these guys, they are very creative. They can create 10 ideas every minute or every hour, but they are pretty poor in terms of execution, these ideas. So then you need to have people who are very good in terms of execution. Once we have idea, and this idea is prioritized and it's aligned with the business strategy and the business model, we have to execute and finish that. So staying focused really means that you have part of people who are really creative, they make this disruptive environment, but from the other hand, you have to make sure that all these ideas are aligned and then execute, because on the end of the day, we want to commercialize these products and make some benefits out of that.
Actually, one thing is the R&D, and which is very important, the quality of the product that you produce, and this is the R&D that you really need. Yes, this is one thing. But another, especially now, especially today, because we are running very fast in the industry, and the changes are running really very fast. We need these kind of people, and we really need to trust them. And the trust is number one, and freedom is number second.
Yeah, I'd say be clear on the goal, but be open for the way to get there. The goal gives you the focus. You need to know what is most important in your business, what is the holy grail, so to say, you are looking for, what are the key challenges to overcome that puts you in a differential position in the market. But then be clever, be agile, be open for the best solution to get there, be it an internal solution, be it an external solution. I think that is also a big change for the traditional R&D organizations who tended to be focused on internal development, where the not invented here was very strong. And that is changing. Now the best solution is the one that brings you to the goal the fastest.
Okay, but are you able to recruit like engineers who have both competences, or in fact mixing engineers who stay focused with people like with some other backgrounds who make the business development work around the technology issues?
It's not about hiring only. It's about how you manage
teamwork,
your business.
right?
It's a teamwork. Yeah.
It's a collaboration and teamwork. They all have to work together in terms of. I mean, the most effective R&D organization is the ones which are really works with marketing organization, sales team, knowing customers, and really working with production to make sure that whatever we develop is needed by customers, and we are able to produce in the, reasonable price.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'd like to sum up, but we do not have time. Apart from summing up, I'd like to encourage you to find Tomasz, Mikołaj, and Sven after the panel. Ask them, because they are really highly experienced guys and they know how to do the stuff and they can advise you in many, many ways. Thank you so much.